it's Julia. Thank you so much for joining me today. I have a bicycle design that I just completed and got in my Etsy shop. It's a little bicycle silhouette, and I've always loved the bike design. You see it in different places. It's just happy, and I wanted to make up a design using fabric for the wheels, just because it's hard to free motion circles, and so by cutting the fabric into the wheels and into the round shape, it's just easier. I do have this design in 3 different sizes, the small, medium, and large. And today we're going to be using the large size to make a pillow. And that's the project that I have. But I wanted to share with you a couple of the other projects that I made this week using the other sizes. First of all, for the size small, I made coasters. Each coaster has a different phrase on it. I had picked this fabric up a while ago, and I've done a couple different projects using that same fabric. But it's any fabric with a phrase would work for this, or you can stamp a phrase. But I thought this was just fun. I really enjoyed making these and using, each one is different by the color of the wheels. This is a different color. The back has a floral design, and those are the flowers that I cut out for the basket and also for just a little decoration or embellishment down below. So this is the small design that you get in the packet. And then I also included a medium. And I just love these they're little journal or portfolios or notebook covers. I have made this particular notebook several times in different videos, and I'll link that down below if anybody wants to just to take a look at how I create these little notebook covers. But also in the template I did include the words "a great adventure," and this I just traced off, and you can either just trace it off with a washable pen, or on this I believe I stitched it, just free motion stitched that wording on. This is fun. It has a little pocket for the pencil inside, and this was actually a viewer's idea that I told her I was going to take from her. I just think it really adds a lot, and it's so simple to add that little pocket in there. And then the little booklet just slides out. And so those are the other 2 projects that I did this week with the other sized templates. But we're going to get started on the pillow, and I'm going to show you how you can use your template to make the pillow. But know that you can also use these in so many different projects. It's just really, your creativity is the limit. And so I hope you enjoy this. Let's get started. Some of the supplies that I use for my pillow, I did use several different colors of green. This is just scraps of fabric, and I use that for the grass. And then different pieces for the bike itself. And then I use this beautiful floral piece. Any floral piece would work, but you want to be able to cut those flowers out. I'm going to link, I just purchased this and it's still available, so I'm going to link it down below for you in case anybody else wants to find this. It's just beautiful fabric. And then I'm using a piece of white cotton. This is just quilting cotton for the main part of my pillow, and also for the envelope back. All the dimensions that I use for this will be in the PDF. I'm also going to be using a warm and natural batting for the back of my pillow top. This just adds a quilted look and also just gives the pillow some structure. I will be lining my pillow as well, and this is optional, but it just helps give it a more finished, professional look. Kind of hides some of the stitching. I'm using my large template, and my Heat and Bond Light is the adhesive that I'm going to be using to apply my applique pieces. I will also be using a water-soluble marking pen. This happens to be a Mark Be Gone. The first thing I'm going to do is just cut some strips off my green fabrics. I'm using 2.5-inch pieces, and then I'm also going to be cutting some of those pieces right down the center, so they're about 1.25 inches wide, and I'm just varying my lengths. I cut more than I need for my pillow top, but I know I'm going to be using this for other projects as well, so I cut several. And one last piece here, I'm going to add some of this brighter Oh, it just reminds me of summer grass kind of green. My pieces are cut now, and then it's on to laying them onto my pillow top. Just going to lay these out, and this is all raw edges. I'm not going to be too concerned about covering everything up. I'm just adding some of the green to the bottom, probably the bottom third of my pillow. I'm just going to add some white school glue to temporarily put these into place. This works really well as a quick and easy bond for fabric. You do want to make sure it completely dries before you take it to the sewing machine. I usually just touch it with my iron, and that will help the drying process along. And then you will not have problems with it gumming up your machine. Just an easy way to hold it into place while you're at your sewing machine. I'm at my sewing machine now, and I have my free motion foot on. I do have my feed dogs dropped. I'm just snipping my thread there. I have that top layer of my pillow, but I also have that batting underneath. And this is just going to give enough stability to my pillow top so it's easy to stitch it. I have cream thread on, and I have bobbin thread in my white bobbin thread in the bobbin. The bobbin thread's a little bit lighter weight, and I'm just outlining these strips. I'm just finishing up outlining all these pieces, and I'm going to be switching to a regular sewing foot now and raising my feed dogs, and I'm going to put green thread on. And I'm going to do some decorative stitching, just adding some interest to some of these places. I love adding my decorative stitches whenever I can. I just don't think we use them enough. This one is one of my favorite stitches. It's a loopy, almost looks like grass, and I do use it a lot when I'm doing any kind of ground work. And just finishing up with my decorative stitching. You can kind of see what it looks like now. That part of my pillow is complete. And now it's on to the actual bike design itself. I'm outlining my applique pieces with my heat and bond light. And I have my heat and bond light just laying over the template. I can see right through it. And these pieces have already, the orientation has already been changed on it. So like that bike, you do not have to flip it. Just trace it as it is on the template. Just rough cutting these out now. And I want to add some heat and bond light to the back of this floral print. So I'll be cutting those little flowers out for appliques. And just ironing my heat and bond pieces now to the back side of my fabric scraps. Going to be using that brown for the basket, and then the bike seat and the gearbox is going to be in black. And now it's on to just fussy cutting all these little pieces out. Not too many pieces involved in this bike. And then I do want to cut those flowers as well. I'm sliding that template underneath that cotton, that white cotton. I can see right through this, and so I'm just going to line it up so it's centered. And then I can just lay my pieces where they need to be. And then I'm also going to be tracing the rest of those designs using my water-soluble pen. Peeling off that heat and bond paper backing, and then just placing these right where they need to be. And then just touching it with my iron to get them into place. Just laying those flowers, just trying to decide how exactly I want them to be laying. This took me the longest. It's trying to figure out where exactly I want these little flowers to go. But I knew I wanted them tumbling out of the basket, and they're too large, so I'm just cutting them, a couple of them down, just cutting the centers out, and then also cutting some of the leaves. And doing one more just in a different color. It's going to be placing both of those in the basket. And again, just touching everything with my iron. I just grabbed my Mark Be Gone pen. This is a water-soluble pen, and it's in a bright blue so I can see it really well. And just using a straight edge there to connect my lines. I can see right through this fabric, right, and I can see the template very easily. Now to remove that template underneath, and then it's back to my sewing machine with my 2 layers, and I'm going to be adding all the outlining all the flowers and putting in all the details of the bike. And this time I do have my black thread on, and I do have my white, again, my white bobbin thread on. Sometimes I change to a black bobbin thread, depending upon whether my sewing machine is being fussy with the tension or not. But today it's right on, and I don't see that white thread at all sticking out. I'm going right on that blue line, and I'm getting off a little bit. I am going over it 3 different times just to give it a little bit more of an outline. Now you're going to notice that I get off when I go around these wheels. I'm really not concerned with that. If you don't like that look, you may want to just go a lot slower, or maybe you want to just add like a blanket stitch to those instead of free motion stitching. And I am going over it 2 or 3 times as well. I really like the sketched on look that free motion gives you. It just looks like you're drawing with your thread. And filling in that handlebar. Just going to be outlining the flowers. On some of the flowers I do add some detail to the center of them, and same with the leaves, just outlining them, and on some of them I do add some detail. And now onto the flowers that are scattered in the grass. This is such a relaxing way to sew. You just meander stitch around. Putting in some of the detail. My free motion stitching is done, and now I want to remove that water soluble pen. And the trick to this is to add lots of water and just really spray it down. Otherwise it basically continues to have blue marks that come up out of that batting. So just add plenty of water and then it will completely disappear. Really thought I needed some more of something, so I'm adding some more flowers to the top of this too. And back to my sewing machine to finish that up, and I don't show that part. But now we're going to be doing some trimming. I just want all the edges to meet and get rid of some of that batting that's sticking out. I do oftentimes cut my batting just a little bit bigger than my pillow, my finished pillow. And then I do have my muslin on the back side as well. That just will cover up all my stitching on the back side, and also just trimming that piece down too. It not only covers up the stitching, but it also covers up the batting. And it's a little bit easier to insert your pillow form into the envelope back type pillowcase. Now it's onto that backing, or that envelope pillow backing, and I do want to turn under my edges. So I'm just turning under a 1/2 inch, and then turning that under another 1/2 inch. And this is on the long side of my envelope backing, and I'm just going to be straight stitching that down. And of course I have 2 sides to do, so or 2 pieces, so each piece will have a finished edge. I'm just laying that right sides together now, and we'll be overlapping approximately about 4 or 5 inches. Getting all the edges to meet and just pinning this into place. And we'll be stitching all the way around, and I'm taking about a 1/2 inch seam allowance for this. Back stitching when I start and when I finish, just to make sure it's more secure. And I actually sewed around it twice and just did a zigzag stitch as well, just to kind of give it more of a finished look. If you have a serger, that would be great to use in that just to really finish off that inside edge. Doing some trimming of my corners. And then just rolling those seams out, and we'll be giving this one final press. Here's some final photos. I hope you have a chance to try this design, and if you do, I would love to see your projects. Tag me on Instagram or share it to Facebook. Those links are all down below. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a creative weekend. Bye for now.